Job. Chapter 6. Then Job responded, "If my grief could be weighed and my troubles placed on the scales, they would be heavier than the sand of the sea. That's why I spoke so rashly. For the arrows of the Almighty are in me, their poison saps my spirit. God's terrors are lined up against me. Don't wild donkeys bray when their grass is gone? Don't cattle groan when they don't have food? Can something that's tasteless be eaten without salt? Is there any taste in the white of an egg? I just can't touch any food, even the thought makes me feel sick. Oh, if only I could have what I really want, that God would give me what I most desire. That God would be willing to crush me to death, that He would just let me die. But it still comforts me to know, making me happy through the never-ending pain, that I have never rejected the words of God. Why should I go on waiting when I don't have the strength? Why should I keep going when I don't know what is going to happen to me? Am I as strong as rock? Am I made out of bronze? How can I help myself now that any chance of success is ripped away from me? Anyone who isn't kind to a friend has given up respecting the Almighty. My brothers have acted as deceptively as a desert stream, rushing waters in the desert that vanish. The stream floods when it is full of dark ice and melting snow. But in the heat it dries up and disappears, vanishing from where it once was. Camel caravans turn aside to look for water, but don't find any and they die. Caravans from Tema looked, travelers from Sheba were confident. But their hopes were dashed, they came and found nothing. Now you are no help, just like that, you see my trouble and you're afraid. Have I asked you for anything? Have I told you to bribe anyone for me from your wealth? Have I asked you to rescue me from an enemy? Have I told you to save me from my oppressors? Explain this to me, and I'll be quiet. Show me where I'm wrong. Honest words are painful, but what do your arguments prove? Are you going to argue over what I said, when the words of someone in despair should be left to blow away in the wind? You would play dice to win an orphan, you would bargain away your friend. Look me in the eye and see if I'm lying to your face. Don't talk like this. Don't be unjust. What I'm saying is right. I'm not telling lies. Don't you think I wouldn't know if I was wrong? Job. Chapter 7. Isn't life for human beings like serving a sentence of hard labor? Don't their days pass like those of a hired laborer? Like some slave longing for a bit of shade, like a hired hand anxiously waiting for payday. I've been given months of emptiness and nights of misery. When I go to bed I ask, when shall I get up? But the night goes on, and I toss and turn until dawn. My body is covered with maggots and caked in dirt, my skin is cracked, with oozing sores. My days pass quicker than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope. Remember that my life is just a breath, I will not see happiness again. Those watching me won't see me anymore, your eyes will be looking for me, but I will be gone. When a cloud disappears, it's gone, just as anyone who goes down to Sheol does not come back up. They will never return home, and the people they knew will forget them. So, no, I won't hold my tongue, I will speak in the agony of my spirit, I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or a sea monster that you have to guard me? If I tell myself, I'll feel better if I lie down in my bed, or it will help me to lie down on my couch. Then you scare me so much with dreams and terrify me with visions, that I would rather be strangled, I would rather die than become just a bag of bones. I hate my life. I know I won't live long. Leave me alone because my life is just a breath. Why are human beings so important to you? Why are you so concerned about them? That you inspect them every morning and test them every moment? Won't you ever stop staring at me? Won't you ever leave me alone long enough to catch my breath? What have I done wrong? What have I done to you, watcher of humanity? Why have you made me your target, so that I'm a burden even to myself? If so, why don't you pardon my sins, and take away my guilt? Right now I'm going to lie down in the dust, and though you will look for me, I will be gone. Job. Chapter 8. Then Bildad the Shuhite spoke up and said, How much longer will you go on talking like this? The words coming out of your mouth are a lot of hot air. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? Your children must have sinned against him, and so they deserved the punishment he inflicted on them. But if you pray to God and ask for his help, if you live a clean life and do what is right, then he would act to make things right for you in your home. Though you began with next to nothing, you will end up with so much. Why don't you ask what previous generations discovered, examine what our ancestors found out? We were born yesterday and don't know anything. Our days on earth fade as quickly as a passing shadow. Won't they teach you and explain what they know? Can papyrus grow where there is no marsh? Can reeds grow without water? Even without being cut, while they are still flowering, they wither faster than grass. This is what happens to everyone who forgets God. The hopes of those who live without God come to nothing. Their confidence is like holding on to a flimsy spider's web. They look to their home to provide security, but it provides no support. They try to hang on to it, but it doesn't last. Those who live without God are like a luxuriant plant growing in the sun, spreading its shoots all over the garden. It twists its roots down through the stones and holds onto rock. But when it's cut down, the place where it was disowns it, saying, "I never even saw you." Its life is over, and others spring up from the earth to take its place. Look, God doesn't reject someone who is innocent, and he doesn't support those who are guilty. He can make you laugh with happiness again and shout for joy. Those who hate you will be put to shame, and the place where the wicked live will be destroyed. Job. Chapter 9. Job replied, "Yes, I know all that. But how can anyone be right before God? If you wanted to argue with God, God could ask 1,000 questions that no one could answer. God is so wise and so powerful that no one could challenge him and win. God moves the mountains suddenly, he overturns them in his anger. He shakes the earth, making its foundations quake. He is the one who can command the sun not to rise and the stars not to shine. He alone is the one who stretches out the heavens and walks on the waves of the sea. He made the constellations of the Bear, Orion, the Pleiades, and the stars of the southern sky. He is the one who does incredible things that are beyond our understanding, marvelous things that are uncountable. But when he passes by me, I don't see him. When he moves on, he is invisible to me. If he takes away, who can prevent him? Who is going to ask him, 'What are you doing?' God does not restrain his anger. He crushes Rahab's helpers underfoot. So how much less could I answer God, or choose my words to argue with him? Even though I'm right, I can't answer him. I must plead for mercy from my judge. Even if I called him to come and he responded, I don't believe he would listen to me. He pounds me with the winds of a storm. He wounds me time and again, without giving a reason. He doesn't give me a chance even to catch my breath. Instead, he fills my life with bitter suffering. If it's a question of strength, then God is the strongest. If it's a question of justice, then who will set a time for my case? Even though I am right, my own mouth would condemn me. Even though I am innocent, he would prove me wrong. I am innocent. I don't care what happens to me. I hate my life. That's why I say, it makes no difference to God. He destroys both the innocent and the wicked. When disaster strikes suddenly, he mocks the despair of the innocent. The earth has been handed over to the wicked. He blinds the eyes of the judges. If it's not him who does this, then who is it? The days of my life race by like a runner, rushing past without me seeing any happiness. They pass by like fast sailing ships, like an eagle swooping down on its prey. If I said to myself, I will forget my complaints, I will stop crying and be happy, I would still be terrified at all my suffering because you, God, will not say I'm innocent. Since I'm condemned, what's the point in arguing? Even if I wash myself with pure mountain water and clean my hands with soap, you would toss me into a slime pit so that even my own clothes would hate me. For God is not a mortal being like me. I can't defend myself or take him to court. If only there was an arbitrator who could bring us both together. I wish God would stop beating me with his rod and terrifying me. Then I could speak up without being afraid, but since I can't. Job. Chapter 10. I hate my life. Let me speak freely about my complaints. I can't keep my bitterness to myself. I will tell God, don't just condemn me, Tell me what you have against me. Do you enjoy accusing me? Why do you reject me, someone you made with your own hands, and yet smile on the scheming of the wicked? Do you have human eyes? Do you see like human beings do? Is your life as short as mortal beings? Are your years as brief as those of humanity? That you have to examine my wrongs and investigate my sins? Even though you know I'm not guilty, no one can save me from you. You made me and shaped me with your own hands, and yet you destroy me. Remember that you shaped me like a piece of clay. Are you now going to turn me back into dust? You poured me out like milk, you curdled me like cheese. You clothed me with skin and flesh, you wove my body together with bones and muscles. You granted me life and showed me your kindness, you have taken great care of me. But you kept these things hidden in your heart. I know your purpose was to watch me, and if I sinned, then you would not forgive my wrongs. If I'm guilty, I'm in trouble. If I'm innocent, the first can't hold my head high because I'm totally disgraced as I look at my sufferings. If I do hold my head high, you hunt me down like a lion, showing how powerful you are in hurting me. You repeat your arguments against me. You pour out more and more of your anger against me. You send fresh armies against me. So why did you allow me to be born? I wish that I had died, and nobody had ever seen me. It would have been better if I had never existed, taken straight from the womb to the grave. I only have a few days left, so why don't you leave me alone so I can have a little peace? Before I go to where I shall never return from, the land of darkness and the shadow of death. The land of total darkness where death's shadow lies, a place of chaos where light itself is darkness.